So hello everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about where is gold in Colorado. By popular demand, and I mean demand, I've been asked to cover Colorado, and we've been kind of prolonging this. We have each state to cover, and it's a lot of days worth of stuff. So as I go through each of these, bear with me, have patience, we'll get to them, but we're working our way through the 50 United States, and so as we cover them, we may group some of them together. But Colorado is a special case, sort of like Nevada was last night. You know, it's one of these things where, gee, there's a lot of gold here. We need to talk about gold and the history of this area. So as you can see, Colorado is kind of an interesting place. Again, as I've mentioned before, when we go through this, check out the sourdoughminer.com GDU. That stands for Gold Diggers Underground. It's a product basically called the Gold Prospectors Bonanza Club, and it's a thing you can join for a monthly fee. You can try it for a relatively decent price, so check out that link and let me know what you think. But in that, I get a chance to talk about not just map making, but also how you find gold and what you do to prospect for it, what rocks and minerals to look for, that whole enchilada. So I've covered and touched on just pieces of it here. I can't go into that much depth, but I do in the club. So join up and let me know what you think. So looking at what we have here in Colorado, it's kind of interesting. We can see this nice big band. Notice again, here we go with these blackened mountains. Basically they're black in this image, but they're really dark green because they're higher altitude and tend to be filled with evergreens, aspens, you name it. Depending upon the time of year, it'll be different colors. But I thought I'd kind of dive into a couple of areas I'm very familiar with. One is down in this southwest corner here, kind of New Mexico Four Corners region. That's this area right through here. And so as we dive in, let's take a look. So right here is a town called Durango, Colorado, and it's at the kind of cross between several different rivers. Up in this area is a nice big forest. Let's see. And going up this is called the $1 Million Highway, which makes its way up from Durango on up into an area called Silverton. And I thought it might be interesting to dive into Silverton. Let me give you a picture of what you can see if you were in Silverton. Right here. So this is just outside of Silverton. You can see these fantastic canyons that they have and the steep walls. Notice the reddish colors of the rocks. You've seen there was a mine here not too far back that had a problem with the EPA breaching a internal dam that was holding back a lot of tailings and material. In the process, they dumped that all down the Animas River down through Durango, and that basically was kind of a crisis. It's called the Gold King mine. You can look it up, but big hint, Gold King means, you know, a gold king, and that's kind of what the whole area around Silverton, and I thought I'd go over that. This place was known for metalliferous mining. Let me go back to the full screen with PJ. And right here is the town of Silverton. You can see right in the middle of town is a prospect, and underground past producer of lead with a tertiary deposit of copper, gold, silver, zinc. And that's kind of what this whole area is full of, is that sequence you just had read off to you. And that is the lead, copper, gold, silver, zinc. So this area is full of all kinds of metals that come up when you have these various ventings and secondary hydrothermal deposits. So what we're looking for in this area is a few of these bigger mines. Let me close that up. Much of which you would find in the regions around these areas where it's been worked heavily. You can see some of these workings through here. Silver Heel was known for copper, gold, lead, and silver. Up here we have underground past producer gold, lead, silver, zinc. So that was a lode mine. The colors on these mountains, these pictures don't do them any justice. They're brilliant red and yellow and orange and green and whatnot. pretty spectacular area, especially if it's been raining at all. These pictures kind of make them look dull, but they're really not. There we go, underground past producer gold, Burbank mine. Gold, fluorine, and fluorite. Surface production. Engineer Mountain. The Sally Bowman mine here, silver and gold. So this whole area around Silverton is known for silver, gold, and so forth. Worth checking out. If for nothing else, you can get some gorgeous pictures. Be ready with your cartoon, because the peak of this road, this $1 million highway, tops out at about 13,000 feet. And so if your engine isn't up to it, you won't make it. But that actually drops you off on the other side, which is Ouray, right here. And spectacular Swiss-style living at its best. But as you can see from the switchbacks, you know, it's pretty tight. This peak rate in here, though, is really high altitude. And in the wintertime, which is, you know, I've been through there, it can be downright dangerous. But if you go through there in the spring, you know, it can be dicey, you know, because it can be cold and that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just thought I'd let you know about this Silverton, Ouray area up from Durango rather. There's the Animas Forks, which was in that picture. And so right in here is unknown group, zinc, gold, lead. Columbus mine, copper, zinc. San Antonio, silver, copper, zinc, lead with gold as a primary. So the place is really known for its gold and for its silver. There's Animas Forks is gold, lead, silver, zinc, and so on. You can see this workings over here. Silver coin. So that's that view. I thought I'd take you through that section first. Let's back out. And now we're going to go over into the area around Denver, which is right over here, and zoom in the mountains behind Denver. So this is all Denver and Lakewood and all that kind of good stuff. You get up in here into the mountains behind Denver, and all of a sudden you're going to find a lot of gold. You know, McKinley, gold and silver. Franklin mine, silver, gold, zinc, lead, copper. Past producer, galena pyrite. There we go with the sulfides again. Tetrahedrite, we've seen a lot of that. Polymetallic veins. So big, different kinds of metals in the vein. That's what poly would mean. Multiple. Let's take a look here. Just for fun, looky, down in the middle of Denver is the Mexican diggings with gold. And gold, past producer, unknown type. My guess is probably placer. Cooley gravel pits has gold, sand, and gravel. There you go. Build your house with that stuff. Expensive. But it's sand and gravel construction and has a secondary output of gold. That is not uncommon in places that have significant gold from an outflow like you'd have from up in the Rockies here. And that is that there would be gold that would be retrievable using a trommeling, and you're going to use a trommel in your gravel pit anyway to sort things out. That's what they do. They classify the gravel into different grades for different kinds of material. Well, when you do that, you may as well run it through a sluice box while you're at it and check it for gold. Good idea. Make yourself some extra money. The Gordon pit, another sand and gravel, and they pull out gold there too. See the pattern? Swadley Placers was a past producer, gold and gold, no gravel. So anyway, that's it for Colorado. There is, let's see, Silverthorne, Keystone. There's a big patch here. Look at that, open pit mine. Rattler, gold. Little Fauntleroy, gold. Fairview, gold. Let's just dive in and look at the data on this Fairview one just for fun. So Intermountain Field Operations Center, mine map. 1924, Victory Gold Mining Company. So there you go, 1924 data. So this looks like a relatively recent place, Goldfield, and Cripple Creek. A lot of people go up in these areas in water, or snow ski, not water ski, water on the hard stuff. Solid water skiing is called snow skiing. Come on, PJ, get with the program. So, you know, that's kind of an interesting area in its own right, partly because it's just such a cluster right there. Colorado Springs right down here where the U.S. Air Force has their school, academy. And I have a nephew who graduated from there. Proud of it. Flew all kinds of planes, and now he flies airlines. But he flew fighter jets and you name it. He's flown it. Crested Butte. And another interesting point is out here you basically don't see much out in the plains. Again, here we go, this alluvial basin and all the plains. You typically don't find much gold there except flour gold. You'll find almost everywhere. But you won't find much in the way of coarser golds unless there's something unique about it, either geologically speaking or from a standpoint of floods. One thing I did note out here was this crazy prospect, which is an unnamed gold occurrence. Go figure. Tertiary is gold. So it means there's just a small smidge of gold found in something they were pulling out of there. Couldn't say exactly what it was. But, you know, you'll find those pretty much anywhere. But it is interesting that that's the only one out here, you know, past Greeley. And, you know, this is out in farmland, rangeland, actually. It's not much farming out there. It's pretty dry. Oil. Lots of oil out there. And that's something you'll see in Texas, too. In fact, this whole area here down through Texas and New Mexico and so forth, oil in that section. And when there's lots of oil, there typically isn't as much gold necessarily, unless there's a lot of uplifting and broken off upthrust areas like there are in California. So it's kind of an unusual, or not unusual, it's the usual characteristic for this area is when you get out of these plains, don't expect to find much in the way of gold. It's kind of neat that you can find some in Denver, but it doesn't go out much past Denver. And that's just the nature of the beast. Gold is where you find it, but here's the lesson. It settles where it wants to as soon as it can. And so the minute the water velocity drops, pop, it goes to the bottom. Unless it's ultra fine flour gold, then it might spread out further. But it depends on how fine it is as to how far out it goes and how strong the currents are in any streams, rivers, or floods that go through the region. That's just the nature of gold. And so that's it for Colorado for tonight. I just thought I'd touch bases with you. Again, check out the GDU offer. These were all produced using government gold maps, or GGM, which would be sourdoughminer.com/GGM/. You can check that out too if you're interested in creating your own custom maps. One of the things that you can do, like with any of these things, you go out toward Grand Junction, for example. There's an interesting prospect there, unnamed placer. And if we zoomed in on that guy, we'd start to notice some patterns about it. One thing is that it's right up against the river here where things are snaking around. It's on the inside of a bend. There's another rule, little idea. And it's on the leading edge of the inside of a bend. I'm assuming it travels this way. I'd have to look at that closer. The trick is you look where the mountains are and see where they drain to. Yeah, they're coming out of here and going down. Up in here somewhere is going to be the headwaters of the Colorado River. They come out through here too. They're a little further south, but you get the idea. We're looking at the material and kind of studying it. You can zoom in a custom map and get right down on top of the site you're looking for. There it is. And you can spy out precisely where they think they found the gold based on where they marked it. Now, this was marked 12 paces from an old oak tree. Well, I don't see any oak tree anymore. You know, that's the kind of thing you run into with older prospects. They're marked relative to some landmark in the area, and that can be a little tricky. It can be an angle, and typically it's an angle and a distance, but it could be a couple of angles, you know, this angle and that angle at that intercept. That's when you find it. Anything that would allow them to triangulate using very simple methods and essentially locate this in a simple survey systems, which were very sophisticated in terms of their ability to find stuff back in the day. You know, a little trigonometry goes a long way. And so if you know the angles and you know the elevations, you can figure out pretty precisely where it is. If you don't have that, then things get kind of dicey. And if it's against an old oak tree or a rock or whatever, all it takes is a flood coming through here and it's gone. There's no landmark and you have no idea. So somebody will just say, oh, let's just stick an X right here. So these may or may not be accurate. You're going to have to double check and do a little more research on what's going on in the area. I would tend to say if this is flowing in this direction, this is the right region to find it, is on the leading edge on the inside of a curve. Another tip from Prospector Jess, and that's it for tonight. Catch you later. Bye-bye. Over now.